My guest today sells Teak garden furniture. It's a small business doing about £200,000 in turnover. This is a business that wants to grow, but they have a very traditional customer. And my guest, Rachel, by her own admission, she has a lot to learn when it comes to digital marketing and paid media. The problem I see is that she's just simply not thinking big enough. This is going to be a very interesting conversation. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it. Right, welcome back, beautiful people. I hope you're all doing well. It's going to be an interesting one, this one. We've got a small business doing about 200,000 in turnover. Very niche, which I like. I like a niche product, a niche brand. And this is, my guest actually, I've seen her out and about. We've met up at a couple of trade shows. We've had a few conversations in the past. It's a small business, but it's one where she wants to do more. She's got plans to delve into wholesale, maybe a bit of B2B. But the big marketing challenges she's got is she wants to do a lot more when it comes to e-commerce. And I know a lot of our listeners, a lot of those of you watching on YouTube, are in, obviously, our space, home garden lifestyles. That is our space. This is us. We are in this space together. And she's coming on the pod because she wants to pick my brains when it comes to paid media, marketing. She's got a whole bunch of questions. So we're going to have to, Archie, make a note. We're going to have to leave ample time at the back end of the episode for her questions. And yes, you did hear me say Archie, not Darren. So for those of you thinking, Archie? Who's Archie? Well, Archie has joined me today for some podcast recordings because Darren is otherwise occupied. So Archie is lead man. It's producer Archie today. How you doing, my friend? You well?
Very well, thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. How are you finding it? This is not the first podcast we've done today. So are you all confident now?
Settling in amazingly. I think I'm coming for Darren's job, to be completely honest. But
I love the confidence. That's good. Well, look, so it's So this is going to be good fun. We're going to help Rachel. My aim for this is going to be to help Rachel and to give her lots of insights and ideas of things she can take and deploy into her brand as ever. Now, the good news is I've already had a look on the website and there is loads of things she could and should be doing to grow this brand. And as I've said before, I love a niche product. And this is Teak garden furniture. And so I've just found out, did you know, here's a little pop quiz. Archie knows this because he just heard it, but you probably won't listen it in. Apparently, and Rachel will tell us more, but the only place in the world that can sustainably source teak wood for these beautiful furniture that these guys make is, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let Rachel tell us. There's only apparently one place on the planet where you can get those products or the raw materials sustainably, and we'll let Rachel share that little
answer
nugget.
For that question will be at the very end of the episode, so you have to watch the whole thing to
Oh, can we be that cruel? I don't know.
I think we can be.
Do you think? I don't know about that. We can do that so long as you remember, because I will forget. If I don't ask the moment we bring Rachel on, I will forget. So as long as you make a note, otherwise we're going to have people absolutely in the comments going, "You never did tell us." But yes, we'll make a note of that and we'll do that. I'll tell you what also you need to do, Archie, is go and share our little paid media mystery.
You do need to
Come on, hit us with it. Let's do it.
Here we go.
I'm loving that little bop. I'm loving it. I can't help but do the dad sway, the dad dance sway. Yeah, it's a bit of that. I can't help but do a bit of that. Come on then, go with it. I'm doing terribly with these. I think I've got one right out of all of those we've done. But it's because you are giving me, you and Darren, it's a double act. They're giving me incredibly broad. How many billions is this? How many billions is that? So is this another one of those, or is this something different?
It's a bit different.
Okay.
I think it's still quite hard.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, go on.
I'd be intrigued at what you think it is.
Yeah, go on.
How many advertisers are currently active on Meta platforms in the UK?
How many? So I guess how many businesses?
How many businesses in the UK are active on Meta?
Wow. As in Meta ads, as in like spending on...
Yeah. Spending on Meta ads, promoting on Facebook, Instagram and other Meta services.
Wow.
And the source for this is Meta.
Okay, wow, okay. That's a good one. Oh, Darren, I think he's coming for your job. That's a good one. I like that. Well, let's think. There's 70 million people in the UK. I've no clue how many businesses there are. There's got to be several million, I would think, if you include micro businesses, stuff like that.
Good
And I would
point.
say a vast majority of them, well, a high proportion of them are going to be on Meta. I'm going to say, how many businesses are on Meta? I'm going to say 4 million.
See, I would have thought it was really high as well, just
Okay.
from my outside perspective. It's actually
Oh my God.
250,000.
I'm miles off. How have I got this so wrong? Only 250.
Only
Okay.
250,000. And that's from Meta
I suppose
themselves. So I
actually
thought
that
they
is a bit
might
of a
be saying
stupid
more.
thing, guess actually on me. Yeah, that's why I make myself like an idiot sometimes. Because thinking about that, yeah, it would never be that. There's probably not even that many. How many can you look at? How many businesses are in the UK? There's not even going to be four. Yeah, in fact, what am I thinking? It's been a long day. There's not even that many businesses in the UK, is there? There's nowhere near that many. How many businesses are there registered in the UK? That must be
5.5 million.
okay. So,
But then again, yeah, I'm with you on that percentage
you would
wise. I
think
would think that many are using Meta.
everyone. I suppose it's just I have a very skewed view because I just think everyone's on Meta, even if they shouldn't be. Most businesses we speak to are like they're on Meta. I'm like, yeah, it probably shouldn't
But
be.
then, yeah, if that's including promoted posts, I think that is
But
surprisingly low.
that's so only, and that's Meta themselves. They have only 250,000
Meta
businesses
Business Insights.
are actively spending. That is way lower than I would have thought,
Yeah, massively.
isn't it? That's a really
It's really
interesting one.
surprising.
That's good. That's one of my favorites. So for only 250,000 businesses using Meta,
Mm.
blimey. There you go. Right. Well, there you go. That's very interesting. Yeah, blimey. Okay. Right now. Thank you for that. So let's get into so the website. If anyone wants to go and have a look at it, as I know a lot of you messaged me after. You're like, "Oh, I want to have a look." And what I'm loving, do you know what I'm loving? Actually, I don't know if you've seen. You would have seen this because you're all over our YouTube stats and stuff.
Yep,
We're getting people now starting to comment
Mm.
with saying they agree, they disagree. They've also
Yes.
seen this. They're almost going and doing their own look and giving their own sort of 10 cents for us, which is brilliant. I'm
Some people are
loving
going
that.
quite deep into the
Yeah, which
business.
is really, and you only get that on YouTube. I think that's such a lovely little sign. We've been doing the pod for a few months now, and I think we're starting to get people that are really engaged, watching every episode, listening to every episode, and then sort of really coming with us on the journey, which is just fabulous. And in fact, didn't you shared with me a screenshot? You said, and we're now, what was that? Because you sent me something the other day, which was on a similar sort of vein
was that we had just passed 4,000 hours of watch time on YouTube.
Wow. There you go.
That is a lot of hours.
That is, and I love the little sort of thing we got is people are getting hooked on your channel.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they are. That's great, isn't it? But
Keep giving them what they want.
There you go. Oh well, we try. Well, look, if that is you, if you are a regular listener, watcher, engager, commenter, thank you. We love you. Thank you so much. That's amazing. So, and we, that is so appreciated because as Rachel, our guest, actually, when we come on, we were just chatting to her, and she said when we brought her on, she was like, the amount of content you're pushing out. She was like, you must be working 24/7. I was like, well, not quite, but not far off. Not far off. We are putting out a lot of content, and as I said to Rachel, we are, and we're having a blooming good time doing it.
Very good time doing it.
It's so much fun. So right, let me paint a picture for you in terms of our guest today. So the website is Teak Unique. So that's TEAK unique.co.uk. Some lovely stuff. Some lovely stuff. As I said, they're doing a couple of 100K turnover. Rachel runs it with her co-director. Her big marketing challenges, which so many of you are going to be able to relate to this, are balancing budget across channels, that perform differently. Different channels. She's doing some online stuff. She's doing some offline stuff. As I said at the top, she bought this business back in 2016 and she inherited a fairly traditional customer and now wants to do a lot more online with it and take it to the next level. So that's sort of balancing the budgets where, that shiny object syndrome, where do you focus on this or this or this? It's all of that. And that's her big challenge. And I've definitely got some ideas on what I would do if this was my business. The second marketing challenge, they're all linked. What to focus on and where, where Rachel's asked, where are we getting the most bang for our buck in terms of the accounts we're working on, and where should she be putting her time, energy, effort, and marketing resources? Third challenge is generating new audiences, getting in front of new customers. She is doing some Google. She is doing some Meta, I think relatively sort of dipping a toe in the water on those platforms. She is also doing some offline marketing and some other bits and bobs. And she wants to sort of grow this business. And what we always say, what does the brand look like when it's finished? And she says she wants it to be the go-to brand for teak garden furniture in terms of, it's high end stuff. This is good quality stuff that she's doing, and I want to get her to explain more about how she sources the product, they make the product. I love that. I love people that come on the pod that make their own products. It's just so, I love that craftsmanship, the real. We've had so many people on where they make the product themselves, and it's just that is, I just love that. So that's amazing. And then she's also got some questions which we'll come on to. So hopefully that gives you a flavour of what the conversation is going to be like today. We'll see where we go, and I'm going to start us by going straight onto our website and giving us some tips and tricks. Right. Can you do the honors, Archie, and bring Rachel on for us,
Yes, I
please?
can. Bring her in.
Right, Rachel, are you there?
I am. Hello.
There she is. It'd be a bit awkward if you weren't. Right, Rachel, welcome to the Grow with Evergreen podcast. Delighted to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining. How have you been, firstly, since we last saw each other? It was what, a couple of months ago?
It was, but it feels like last week. Time is just flying at the moment. But yeah, things have been good.
We are at a very busy time of the year, but just give us 30 seconds. Who are you? What's the business? Over to you.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Rachel Henley. I have owned Teak Unique since 2016 with my cousin and business partner, Victoria. Both of our backgrounds are in sports marketing. Somehow we found ourselves the owners of this wonderful business. We always knew we wanted to work together. We always knew that we wanted to own and grow a product, and we came across Teak Unique because my business partner was actually a customer at one point, and we just thought how wonderful the furniture was, and how one day it would be wonderful to own a company like that. And here we are. So we have been running it for the past 8 years. My cousin has been doing the brunt of it, as I was sort of keeping the coffers going by maintaining a job for the first few years, and she was at the coalface. And as of 3 years ago, we have both been in the business with much more sort of defined roles. And yes, it was a business that was it had a website, but it was otherwise sort of offline. And our customer base was very much sort of London and the South, which it still is, actually. And we have some incredibly loyal customers who have been with us for years and years and years. And we are, we have some new customers, which is great, but we're always looking for more. Hence why I'm really interested to chat to you guys today.
Fabulous. Right. Okay. So yourself and Victoria, you said you've now got lovely defined roles. What are those roles? Who does what?
So Victoria is in charge of everything operational and keeping us on track. She saves the money and I spend the money.
Okay. Sounds like me and my wife.
Well, yes, exactly. Yes, so I'm sales and marketing, looking to grow our various sales channels primarily. And she is looking after everything to do with our product, the logistics in terms of bringing it over from Indonesia, the warehousing and the running of the business, the nuts and the bolts.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, amazing. Right, so let's dive straight in then. I've got so many ideas on this. So just give me a flavour then of the business. I sort of alluded to some of it at the top. So doing a couple of 100,000, is that all online? You're not at the minute, you're not doing any B2B, you're not doing anything offline. Is it all just online sales?
We are doing a bit of offline as well.
Okay.
But I guess those are sort of that we haven't proactively to date been looking for that business. That business we feel very lucky has found us.
Sure.
But we clearly are not sitting on our laurels and expecting that to happen. But that's the business that we really want to go after going forwards. We think it's a really untapped sort of income stream for us.
Yep.
So yes, our website is there for customers to hopefully find us, or
Yep.
I'm sure there are lots of things that we could do to make it easier for them to find us. But yes, that is there for our customers. We would love to make it as easy as possible for them to buy online. But having said that, we're really keen on the customer service side of things as well. And it's obviously, it's not obvious, but we have a relatively high value product. It's often a very big decision for people to buy. So we're always at the end of the phone if anybody wants to talk through options or has any questions about the quality or how long it's going to last and all of those kind of things. So we like to sort of have the human side as well.
Perfect. Which you would expect. That is absolutely, that's very important that you have that. So. Okay. So in terms of the business, in terms of its turnover, has that grown over the last couple of years, or have you been sort of plateauing? And what's the past look like?
Yeah, we since the beginning we have grown. During the COVID years, there was a huge demand for outdoor furniture, and as we know, a lot of people, the majority of people were not going on holiday or going out, so people had the money to spend on something that could potentially be considered a luxury.
Absolutely.
So those couple of years were real boom years for us, and we were expecting it to sort of plateau a bit because we felt that there would have been a lot of demand that had been brought forward by that time. But actually it did continue to grow, but albeit at a much slower rate. So yes, we are growing, but the past couple of years have been slower.
Well, I think you're part of a trend. There's definitely been a trend there for lots of brands. Many people we've had on the pod have echoed similar sentiment in terms of, the last couple of years. Last 18 months has been hard for a lot of people in this space. So if that is you as well, you're not alone. Everyone is feeling the same thing. The good news is 25, 26 is almost certainly going to be better because, my friends, everything goes round on a 5-year cycle. And so 25, 26, I would bet my bottom dollar that it's going to be a lot better for this sector.
Well, and a good sunny summer would certainly help.
Well, that would be a good start, wouldn't it? Absolutely, that would be nice. Okay, so and the product, I'm having a look through it while we're talking. There's some really, really beautiful stuff on here. I think it's so nice. There's some lovely product. So, right. Because one of the things, the reason I'm asking that question, I think I always liken the conversations to the 3 Ps, the podcast 3 Ps. I like to understand the past, the present, because then we can build out a plan. And one of the things that I've noted from your application to come on was where you want the business to be in a year. Because you said you want to be the business to get it up to about doing 250 turnover, which is not a huge increase on what you're doing currently. Is there a reason why you are not aiming bigger? You're not thinking bigger. You're not saying, do you know what? I want to double the business in the next 12 months, or I want to, get up in the next 2 years. I want to get up to sort of 4, 5, 6, 700,000. Is there any limiting factor on that? What's the reason for that?
There is no limiting factor. I think we are. I think we're just sort of thinking that we're being realistic. But it's good to hear that you think we might be underselling ourselves.
I think you are.
Oh, well, this is great. And no, there is no limiting factor. Frankly,
do you want me to tell you? Because I think we might be in for a bit of a rocky ride on this one. But I think what I want you to do is I want you to listen back to this and actually think, do you know what? You've got something really nice here. You've got a business that's been going for the best part of a decade, or probably more than that. You've owned it for many years. It's got a lovely product. What is your average order value?
It is around £800.
Right. This is so good. Right. So we've got an average order value of £800. And right now, in terms of your marketing activity, what does that look like? So what are you doing with your marketing?
So we are doing Meta ads and we're doing Google ads.
What are you spending on both, roughly?
Gosh, good question. Probably about £10,000.
Over the year?
We concentrate it. We concentrate it in a smaller period of time. So we tend to start in April and finish around July.
As in,
I think,
do you go full cold turkey after that? You turn everything off?
yeah, we do at the moment, but we've had years where we've just gone minimal budget to sort of keep a very, a presence.
Sure.
However, we recently have sort of turned it off and then we turn it back on again. But
As a
yes, I don't know if
as
that's the right thing
a
to do.
okay. As a business, so it makes sense. We got loads of clients which are exactly the same. Their peak is basically, Q2 into Q3 on the calendar year. So that kind of April, May up to August, September, that period of time is peak for over half our portfolio. So we're very, very used to summer being peak. So my question is, from a pure practical standpoint, if you turn off your ads for the rest of the year, how do you afford to keep the business turning over? Do you make enough sales to just tick you by? Like this time of year, as time of recording, it's almost Christmas. What do you do throughout these sort of
Yeah.
winter months?
Yeah, so and it has depended from year to year. Some years we have spent at Christmas. We tend to rely on our customer base buying Christmas gifts.
Yep.
So we will sort of, we'll talk to them during the off season.
Sure. Via
but
like
we will
email, stuff like that.
exactly via
Right.
email, and we will uh, keep our organic social going, although actually we've had problems with that recently, but those will be, they're our own unpaid channels that we will continue to use to the best of our ability. But
Yep.
also, this is when we feel we should obviously be talking to trade,
Yep.
because I think they understand the longer lead times
Of course. Yeah,
as
they
well.
definitely will.
Whereas,
Okay.
customers, even if, none of us are thinking about summer now. So we know that we think there is no point in sort of trying to speak to people who don't know us at this time of year, because we just don't think we will enter into their consideration at this time
You
of year.
don't think, or have you have you
No,
tried this with any serious budget or not?
no, we have not tried it.
Okay, I think that's a mistake. So what are you
Okay.
spending on? So Google is spending about 10K in that period, and Meta about the same, less, more.
So 10K is both of them together.
Oh, okay, fine. And what is the split across those? Do you know?
Probably about 70% Google, 30% Meta.
Okay. And on those, do you know what sorts of campaigns? Are you doing those yourself? Have you got someone doing them for you
We have
when it comes
somebody
to?
doing them for us.
Right, okay. And so you're paying a management fee on top of that, or is that included?
That's included.
Okay. So do you know do you have access to your account? Could you, not right now, but could you go in and see how much you actually spent on ads? If you
Yes,
want, you
I
could actually
could.
get into your Google
Yeah,
Ads, your Meta Ads account, you could go and see. It'd be worth
yeah,
doing that, because do you know what the management fee was? Do you know what you actually
yeah.
spent on ads?
I don't know offhand. Sorry, I should have
Sure,
prepared
sure, sure.
myself with those
No, no,
numbers.
no, you're
But
fine.
yes, I have set the
That's good to
media
know.
spend.
That's good to know. And do you
Yeah.
know, so the key things you're going to want to know is what did, in that, if you just look at the last couple of years, so I would look at 2024's data, 23's data, maybe 22, but even the last couple of years. And I would look at that key period when you ran your ads. What did you put in? What did you get back out? That's what you're going to want to understand. So you put in, let's say the fees were a couple of grand. So over that key period, you put in 8,000. You need to understand how much of that, say 8, 10,000, whatever it is, went into Google. What was the return? How much went into Meta? What was the return? That's a good exercise to do. That'll take 15 minutes. That's a good thing
Yeah.
to go and do. Just crunch those numbers, because I think fundamentally, I don't think, it's very difficult to, with Google Ads, with Meta Ads, as a general rule of thumb, it's very difficult to make it work unless you invest a certain level to get a return. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone always wants, small businesses always want to do the same. They always want to, well, I'll just start small. I'll just put a few quid in the pot and we'll get a return and then we'll scale up. Realistically, it doesn't work like that. It's very hard to get it to work. Now, what you have in your favor is a high average order value, which is great. But the reality of it is, even if you were spending £3,000 a month into Google Ads, that's only £100 a day. Based on your cost per
Yeah.
click, and do you know that your cost per acquisition? Do you know how much it's costed you, or how much it costs you from those platforms to acquire a customer?
Not off the top of my head, sorry,
So
but
no. That's a good exercise again
look
to do.
into
I'm going to
that.
give you lots of things
Fine.
on this that you can
All
go
right.
away and think, I'll go and work that out. I'll go and work that out. And this will all help us paint a picture in terms of how you take this business forward. So what you need to understand is, of the money you put into Google, how much, or the money you spend, that 10,000, how much went into management fees, how much went into actual ad spend. Then where did that ad spend get spent? How much went onto Meta? How much went onto Google? Then what you need to know is, okay, let's say you put in 5 grand into Google. What you then need to look at is you need to go, well, how much did I get back? In terms of, let's say you put in 5 and let's say you got 4 rowers. So you put in 5, you got 20 back. Yeah. Let's just keep it simple. It might be that, it might not be less, more, whatever. What you then need to look at is, within that, are there which are the key product lines that we're selling, so on and so forth. And you then need to just dive deeper and deeper into your data. So you need to, what campaign types did you run? What types of keywords were people looking for, and so on and so forth. Because what I've seen in very similar businesses to this is, and what I've advised, and we've supported some of them with through their growth challenges, is when you aren't spending enough, you're just not touching the sides. And often you spend a few quid with the aim being, well, if we put this in, we're going to get this out. And then if we can do that, the number of times, if I'd had £1 for every time a business said to me, well, let's just start small and then we'll try. And then when it works, oh, well, then there's a limitless budget. Unfortunately, you have to speculate to accumulate when it comes to marketing. You have to just invest a certain amount. And what you end up needing to do, but often not doing, is you need to then just focus. And focus is going to be a recurring theme of this episode, and something I want you to sort of take down, because ultimately I do think there's a market for this all year round. Obviously, there's going to be huge peaks in the summer period. That goes without saying. But I can guarantee you people will still be looking for teak furniture all year round. Absolutely guarantee it. There won't be as many, but people will be looking. But what I think you've got to do, and what I would do if this is my business, and that's something I always do, is I think, if this was my business, what would I do? How would I market it? What do you want to be famous for? In terms, obviously it's teak furniture, teak garden furniture. But are there any, when you look at your products that you sell, and again, you could pull your Shopify data to tell you this, which are the key lines? Which are the best performing products? Is it the tables, the chairs, the benches, the lounges? What is it where you make most of your revenue? Do you know?
You ask it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Do you know?
Yes, we do have that information, and it is generally our tables and chairs.
Yeah. So what I would want to work out is what percentage of your revenue, if you were to pull up all of your revenue data for the last couple of years, what percentage of your revenue should has gone on, let's say it is tables. You've got teak tables, you've got a whole bunch of different tables here. They're good average price point, in the hundreds of pounds. So it's good if someone buys a table, they're almost certainly going to buy a bench and the seats to go with it, and so on and so forth. So there's good, there's good numbers in there. So what I'd be doing is, again, I'd be focusing, and rather than, I don't know, I'm assuming with your Google ads, your Meta ads, are you showing all products?
Not all of them, but yes, the majority.
The majority. Yeah. Probably not like the cushions and the accessories, but
exactly.
Most of the actual wood furniture, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So the problem you've got, let's run a hypothetical, right? So let's say on an average, let's use peak. Let's pretend it's the summer. You've put 5-10 grand in to Google ads. What you end up doing then is, let's say you put, even if it was, let's just keep the numbers really simple. Let's say it was 3 grand into Google ads, which you're not even spending that on a month. If you've only done 10, you're probably not even half that. But if you're spending 3 grand, that's basically 30 average month, 30 days, that's £100 a day. If you've got £100 a day split across, say, maybe a brand search campaign, and then maybe a couple of Performance Max campaigns, or a shopping campaign, that sort of thing, it's you're spreading yourself so thin, basically. What is your campaign structure? Do you know? Do you typically run in the summer?
So I can tell you and again, this is through the data that our agency have provided us. So Tell me if this is what you want us to know. But yeah, we do PMax across all products. We'll do a brand terms campaign.
Yep.
We do general terms.
Yep.
And then we have done, and it does differ from year to year, but then we are doing benches. We ended the year with benches because we feel that is more of a winter purchase.
Okay.
And we did a smart shopping campaign.
Okay, so smart shopping basically is now Performance Max. It's been upgraded to that a couple of years ago, so that's kind of one and the same thing.
Right.
Brand, good. Yeah, you should be running a brand campaign. Performance Max is great. And again, your agency, you can pass this feedback to them, and they can implement it. The key thing, what I'd be doing with this is I would be focusing in on tables, or if
Yeah.
your data shows that 60, 70, 80% of your revenue comes in tables, focus on tables, right?
Yeah.
In terms of your advertising, because you've got a limited pot, so you need to be careful of where you put that budget.
Yeah.
And so what I'd be doing is I would be putting all of my ad budget to focus in on tables, because the average price is good. People are more than likely going to do a second or third purchase with benches or seats or so on. And it will just give you more to play with in that arena. I would be running Performance Max, or maybe I'd be also, well, the way I would actually structure this is I would have a brand search campaign. I would have
Yeah.
a Performance Max campaign with 2 asset groups. All right, this gets a bit technical, but I want to give you very specifics that you can pass on to your agency and say, are we doing this? If not, we should be doing this. This is exactly, I just know this space so well. I know exactly how you should be doing it. And based on your size, I know how you make this work. So you run a brand search campaign and you put pennies behind it, £5 a day, that will see you through. You set up a Performance Max campaign. And in there, you have 2 asset groups. One is both of these asset groups are only focusing on the tables.
Yeah.
One, you run as asset led. So you put do you know how Performance Max works? You put all the images, all the headlines in, you put all of the bits and bobs into the campaign, and then you give Google the autonomy to basically show your ads across its network.
Right.
That's basically how Performance Max works. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, you basically say, you go, here's all my images, here's my product feed, here's a bunch of headlines, a bunch of descriptions. You put everything in one big pot, and then you say to Google, what I want is sales. My target is this. My budget is that. Go and get me my sales. And it does, if you, with time, consistency, and a level of investment and focus, it does a pretty good job, so long as you've optimized it.
Right.
So I would absolutely be doing that. But what you should also be doing is you should be effectively split testing your asset group with what basically as marketers we call feed only. So this is basically, it's like doing a split tested experiment. So you have a second asset group in the same campaign, but what you do is you then strip out all the headlines, all the images, you strip out everything. So you leave it only with the product feed.
Okay.
Yeah. And what that does is it uses Performance Max, and it forces it to basically only use the shopping network within Performance Max. So you're getting the best bits of Performance Max, but you're saying, I only want you to show this asset group, which again is only going to be tables, to show it in the shopping feed, nowhere else. So you're effectively running an experiment. On the one hand, you're saying, right, Google, you can show my ads, show my headlines, show it here. You can show it on the display network. You can retarget it. You can do this. You can do that in the search results and the shopping results. And I want to test that and see how does that perform versus when you only show my ads in the shopping network as the shopping cards that appear in the top of the search results.
Yep. Okay.
And I only want to do both of those asset groups for tables. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, you do that, you run that for 90 days, and you see which one of those performs. You generally get one that will outperform the other. I would imagine for you, the shopping campaign, the feed only will outperform the asset led, but I might be wrong. But you run an experiment and you see. In addition to that, you should be running a shopping campaign with probably 15% of the budget. So your budget should be split 80% into Performance Max, 15% into shopping, 5% into brand. Okay. And the shopping campaign should be set up, again, only using the product feed for the tables. And it should be set to low priority in the campaign settings. So you set it as a low priority. So basically, what you're saying to Google is you're saying, right, Google loves Performance Max. I'm going to run a Performance Max campaign. I'm as the business going to decide I only want to focus on tables because they're good average order value, etc. And I'm going to run an experiment to basically say, show my asset-led campaign, show my shopping campaign, and let's see which of those performs better in terms of revenue. Then you're going to have a shopping campaign out and out, which is basically set to low priority, so it doesn't compete, but it catches those clicks where the Performance Max misses. And then outside of that, you have a brand campaign. That is how you set up your account.
Okay.
And you just do that on tables. But what you've also got to do is you've got to make sure that you give it enough budget to be able to, actually properly work. And the key thing, the thing that I say to a lot of our clients and a lot of, people that have come on the pod is I say, It's very easy. Growing a business is not that difficult, so long as there's a market looking for it. So
Yeah.
you need to understand how people search for your product and in what volume. And then what you need to do is run the hypotheticals. Not enough people run the scenarios. So for me, what I'd be doing with this is I would be looking at Google Search Console. Do you know what that is?
Yes. I
You
know
heard
what
me.
it is, but I
You
don't know
heard me.
how to use it.
Right. So you probably hear me talk about Search Console a lot. I don't think I've done a podcast episode yet where I haven't mentioned it. Google Search Console is Archie's nodding along. Google Search Console is a free tool from Google that you can use, and it will basically give you insights into your data. And crucially, basically, alongside the many, many other things it will do, the key thing that you want to do is look at the performance section, because it will tell you how people are finding your business, how people are finding your website, what they're searching for. So it will give you insights into their search terms. Oh, they're looking for this type of teak furniture or that type of teak furniture, or they're looking by size or by type or by this or by that. It will give you those insights. That is gold for you, because you want to learn from how people are finding your product, because it means you can better optimize your products, better optimize your website, your pages, and therefore your ads. Before we go any further, are you enjoying today's episode? If so, you'll love our other show, Tea Talks. They're short, informal chats where the Evergreen experts and I share actionable nuggets on all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy that we use daily when growing our clients' businesses. And best of all, much like this podcast, it's completely free. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, see the link in the description. Now, let's get back to it. So you want to do an exercise and if you want me to do it, I'm more than happy to take a look for you after the pod. If you send me an email, I'll walk you through how and where to do it. But in there, you need to mine that data to understand and get insights. Okay, this is how people are finding my product. Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
once we've done that, it will allow us to better optimize and so on, as I've just said. Then the next thing you need to do is and this is a really important exercise to do, is you need to then go into Google Analytics 4. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do.
Have you got that set up? Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so you then need to go into GA4, and what you need to look at is you basically want to understand from Google Analytics where your sales are coming from, how they're being attributed. So, and one of the easiest, simplest ways you could do this, and for those of you listening, watching along, you could do this yourself, assuming you've got GA set up, is you can go in and on the left-hand side, when you go into Google Analytics, you have got, I forget what it's called. What is it? You've got advertising. And on the left, you click advertising, and then in there, you've got attribution and attribution models. And you click into attribution models, open up the date range. And the reason you want to do this is because it will tell you, hopefully it will say in there, you've done your 200K or whatever revenue you've done. But the more interesting bit is to then look at the channel split, and it will group the channels, and it will tell you that 200K was X proportion of that came directly to the website. This amount came from paid search. This amount came organically. This amount came from referrals, from email, and so on. This assumes you've got your tagging set up correctly. But the reason this is an important exercise to do is because you want to understand what the makeup of your business, of your online business, in terms of which channel you're most reliant on. Yeah. And so because what I want to understand is I want to understand how important is that each channel. So how important is Google? How important is Meta? How important is your organic visibility? How important is your brand? What role do each of these channels and platforms play in your overall business? That's really important.
Do you look for that on sort of sales, or do you look for that as first visit to the site?
No, sales, yeah. This is all commercials. All we care about, users are important, traffic's important, fine. This is all sales, baby. We need to be led by sales. So we want to see that 200K, and then we want to break that down, and we want to see, right, because what we want to understand is how reliant is a brand. For example, if you went into that and you saw the 200K, and then you looked at it and it said 175 of that came from paid search, or if you see cross network is Performance Max, essentially. If you see that, you go, what the hell is that? Cross network is Performance Max. If you saw that, then my goodness me, as a brand, we are wholly reliant on paid search or Meta. And you just want to, it's just not enough business owners understand what's the drivers of their business. And so it's something whenever I'm talking to a prospective client, it's the first thing I do. I go into their analytics, I look at their attribution models, and I want to get a sense of how reliant is this brand on the different pillars and platforms and so on. Really important to do, because once you know that, if you then look at it and go, okay, I've done 200K, 100 of that has been attributed to paid search and cross network combined. You then know as a business, circa 50% of my revenue, I can correlate back to paid search. Yeah, to Google.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep, totally.
And the reason this is important is because then when you're thinking about growing, right, and when you're thinking about, right, where do I want to take this business? It's so easy when you know that reliance to then work out how we grow. And you remove so much of the guesswork, because what you can do is you can say, right, where are we today in terms of revenue? Where do we want to be in a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And then we can say, well, what are the levers? What are the channels that we can influence? Because when it comes to direct traffic, that's very hard to influence unless you're going to do a big, campaign that's going to directly send people to the website. It's very hard to influence. When it comes to
Yeah.
organic search, that's your SEO, that's your organic, that you can influence that over time. That is not something you can influence today, tomorrow, or next week. Yeah. So
Right.
when it
Yeah.
comes to thinking about growth and thinking about hitting your targets, what you can then do is you can say, well, okay, we want to we right now have a 50% reliance on paid search, and right now our revenues are 200. Let's say we want to hit 300, 400, 500. We can go, well, which channels can we influence? And then we can influence that one. We're not doing a very good job with email marketing. Right, we need to double down on email marketing, because right now email marketing is worth to our business, according to the data, hypothetically, only 10 grand. If we could get email being worth 50 grand to our business, that would be amazing. How do we do it? Right. And then you go and you start looking at email. What are we doing? What else could we be doing? How do we build our list? Are we doing a good enough job with capturing data? So on and so forth. Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
making sense? And
Absolutely.
then when it comes to paid search or any of the channels, Meta, paid social, any of them, you can then look at them in isolation. And when any of the paid channels, which are going to be the quickest to influence, and they are going to be the drivers of how you're going to grow this business, you can then run a very simple calculation. You can say, well, according to the data, I'm using hypotheticals, but according to the data, we generated 100K, for in terms of revenue. I'm just using the hypotheticals, yeah.
Yeah.
But and let's say that your ad spend, you said you spent 20 grand. So you could look at your ad and go, well, I know I spent 20 grand on ads, on Google ads. This, as an
Yeah.
example, and I know that my data is telling me, and Google is backing this up, that generated 100K in revenue. So I 5x'd my return. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of classic of what I see in clients all the time. So we then go, great. We now want to grow the business by 200K, 500,000, a million. We want to scale up. We know that paid is going to be one of the key drivers we can influence. And so then we can say, well, okay, what role does paid need to play? If paid is contributing 100K to our revenue right now, and we want to grow by another 250,000, well, then we can look at it and go, well, we're going to need paid to take the brunt of that additional 200, 300, 400, 250,000 that we want to grow. And so you
Yeah.
can then you can just work backwards. And you go, in order to do that, if I can continue to 5x my return, I know I need to put into ads X amount. And if I anticipate some diminishing returns, I know if I grow, I might only get a 4 times return. Therefore, if I want to do 500,000 through Google Ads, or if I want to do 250,000, then I know I need to invest, what's it? If we said 200,000, I want to grow by 200,000. Let's just think about it. I know if I'm going to get 4 times return, I know my ad spend needs to go from 20K to 50K.
Yeah.
It's a bit of math. It takes a little bit. It's easier if you write it down and go through it. But that is such a simple process that I talk and take our clients through every single day of my life. And that is a process that is very easy. You could do it yourself, but it is hugely informative, and it removes the guesswork, and it enables you
Yeah.
to then look ahead and go, okay, I know in order to hit that revenue, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to put in to get, this is what I need to get out.
Yeah. Makes complete sense.
Yeah. So Mike, that was quite a little bit, there was quite a lot there that I just sort of threw at you, but I want to go then just to sort of go full circle. What I think your turnover target, I don't think you're aiming big enough. For me, if you've done 200, you can almost, we never take our current clients for granted, right? But if you can see over the last 2 or 3 years, I've sort of banked 200. I kind of know based on what we're currently doing, what we're currently spending, we're going to do 200. If you're fairly confident in that assessment, then you could go to 250, but it's like realistically, that's not going to take a huge amount of change to make that. And I think there's a funny thing happens. You get where you aim for. You get very close to what you aim for. So I would absolutely not be thinking in the next 12 months, I want to hit 250. I'd be saying the next 12 months, I want to double it. Because I think if you say in the next 12 months you want to double your business, I think you will easily get into the 300s plus.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
If you set 250, what will happen is you'll end up at 220, 225. I can almost guarantee it. I just see it so often. So I think you need to think bigger and you need to invest in where you want to be, not where you are. As a general rule of thumb, most businesses will invest 10 to 15% in their marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're doing is you are investing just enough to maintain you at 200k turnover, because you're investing 10% of that into your marketing.
Yeah.
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 And of that, we're then taking some into the online stuff, some into offline stuff. So again, for me, this was my business. Focus is what I would be doing. I would be looking at your existing customers. What activity do you need to do in terms of staying top of mind, maintaining the relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Look at that. Look at what it's going to cost in terms of both time, resources, and investment. And then new customer acquisition is the name of the game with this. I think a combination of Google and Meta is absolutely the right medicine for this business in terms of how you take it forward. With Meta, is very visual. So you need great product images, of which you've got some beautiful stuff on the website. And you need to put that in front, and you need to get, the way you'll win with Meta is great creative. You need to go to town with your targeting. So really go after those that do buy, have a natural affinity to the kind of products. I would be pulling all of the bigger competitors, and those that you can target in Meta, I would be targeting all of the people that do shop at places where they have similar products at a similar price point. I'm not going to mention the brands, but you could do some really clever targeting on that. I'd be going after those that do buy home and garden products, that do have a natural affinity for investing, and spending time in their garden. You can do all of this. You're going to know your customer avatar. So you should be going after that target, and then hitting them with great creative, great single, individual images, amazing carousels. If you could do video, that will work a treat. And then you should be experimenting with both Advantage Plus, which is the Meta equivalent of Performance Max, is the way I like to think of it.
Right.
And then I'd have out and out retargeting on Meta. Are you doing any of that right now?
Yes, we are. I think this year was the first year that we did do some retargeting.
That is a no-brainer. So that should be. And you've got the Meta Pixel set up on your website. You've got the Google tag set up. Are you importing your audiences into Meta?
I think I have done. I don't know how regularly one's meant to do that, but I'm pretty sure I have done.
It depends on the volume of data you're getting in. For you, I don't know how many customers you've got, but I would say at least once a quarter, if not once a month, I'd be doing that. Just because if you're not taking that data, that first-party data, and loading it into these platforms, well, then you're not targeting them. Unless you need to make sure you've got the Google ad tag on your website, because that will enable you to retarget people. So all of that data, you work so hard to acquire a customer, to get someone to your website, and you pay a premium to do so. We absolutely want to be retargeting them. Yeah. So, getting the Google tag on the website and working properly, getting the Metapixel working and those audiences being populated, importing your customer data, all of these things, and, having audiences set up for anyone that engages with your content on social media. All of these things are ways you can then group all of them together. I wouldn't split them out. All of those audiences into a retargeting campaign to get the numbers you're going to need to run those retargeting campaigns with the right frequency to that audience. Yeah, that is an absolute no-brainer. And the good thing about doing that, Rachel, is in doing that, you're only going to your existing audience. I would probably bolt on some lookalikes as well, but in doing that, you're only going to your audience that already knows you. They've already expressed an interest. They've raised their hands, said, yeah, maybe interested. I've been on the website. I've engaged with you. I've liked your post. I've seen some of your ads out in the wild. So you're only going to spend pennies on that. So I'll give you an example. And again, talking from experience with the clients we work with, I would be looking at an 80-20 split in terms of your digital budget. So 20% into Meta, 80% into
Yeah.
Google. And the reason
Yeah.
for that is because Google, there's search intent. People are looking for the product.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would be weighted maybe 70-30. Because I think Meta could play a really interesting role for you because it is a unique product and because there's a good average price point. If you get great photography, I think Meta could play quite an interesting role for your brand. But I would definitely be leaning more of the budget into Google.
Yeah.
And I think in doing that, and I would want to Google with the campaign structure that I laid out, and I would be focusing, as I said, just on tables. Make sure make sure if you watch a lot of our some of our previous pods and tea talks, and actually we're working on a new series which I can't disclose yet, but there's going to be a new series we're planning to launch. This is the first time I've ever mentioned it, but one of the new things we're working on currently in the background that Archie knows about is just going to be launching in 2025 is a very practical series where we're going to be walking you through exactly how to do these things. So do keep your eyes peeled for that, because when that comes out, you could literally watch me do it and then replicate it, and that I think will be super useful for you to implement these things.
Yeah.
First episode out early Jan, I believe.
I think it's going out early Jan. Yeah. So
early
yeah,
Jan,
we've
so
already
look out
created
for that.
some. It's very exciting. So that's we can't share what the name is yet.
Can't spoil it.
But yeah, when that comes out in the new year, keep an eye on that. That's going to be very exciting. It's very very practical, and it's like walkthroughs. It's going to be great. So yeah, I think Google plays a key role for for this business, focusing on tables. With Meta, I think that is basically how I'd be doing it. And I think you'll be surprised if you look at Google Search Console. I think I would be using personally, if this was my business, I would be using the first few months of next year. So your quieter season to bed the campaigns in. So with Performance Max, it has the longest lead time. So what I'd be looking at is as a 6-month window, or the first 4 months of the year, where typically you wouldn't run. So for Q1, you wouldn't typically run the ads. What I'd be doing is I'd be working out a budget and saying, look, if we could put in 10K or whatever, 5K into ads, probably needs to be a bit more than that because you need to remember the minimum thresholds, into tables. If we can 3, 4, 5x it, depending on your margins, over the course of Q1, when we're tightly focused, that would be a good thing. And I think over a 90-day period, you'd probably hit your goal. But what a lot of small businesses do is they do it for a week or two, they don't make a sale, and then they get nervous and they rein it back in. All right? Don't do that. Because that's what everyone does. That's why you're laughing, because you've probably done it. That's what everyone does, right? But what happens, and right, what I see all the time, and I'll bet you'll be able to recognize this as well as that, the other thing people do is when you're only spending a relatively trivial amount on ads and you're trying to spread it across everything, what happens is you don't make sales for days and days and days, and you think, oh, this is just not working. I'm getting frustrated. It's not working. But then, and you're just on the cusp of turning off, then you get a sale. And you go, yes, I've made a sale. Brilliant. Right. Happy days. This is working. And you get just enough to keep you doing it, but not enough to ever actually make any money or ever actually be able to get any consistency. But Google has, and Meta, these platforms has a funny way of just giving you enough that it sort of keeps you on the end of the hook, where you go, oh, all right, I'll keep doing it. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
Everyone does it. It's the same stuff. See it all the time. And I have to look at the data and I say, it's because we're not putting enough budget in, right? Because ultimately, if you were to look at your Google Ads data, and you could go in and it will tell you this, it will tell you a level of return you're making. It might be 3 or 4 times, it might be 5 or 6, it might be 7 or 8. If you were to look at your data and do the things we've covered on today's pod, you will be able to see in total for Google, for Meta, I put in X, I got Y out. And that's what you've been doing. And what's the definition of insanity? If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result, right? So if all you plan to do is invest roughly the same as what you've done last year, factoring in the fact that Google on average increases their prices, or the auction price increases by 10 to 15% roughly on average every year, that's what it's done for the last few years, you're always going to see less, for every pound spent. right?
Yeah.
And
Didn't even cross my mind that they put their prices up, but why wouldn't they?
it's the auction price. It goes up. It's gone up 15% in the UK. In the UK, in this sector, the auction price on average in the UK for the home garden sector has gone up 15% in 12 months. Fact.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. And so it's, that is just a reality, right? That is just, that's happened year over year. COVID, it just went crazy. So it's an online auction at the end of the day. So what you've got to do is make sure that you're investing enough, but you're investing in where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I've got a client, small business, a little bit bigger than you. They're one of our really small businesses. They were investing into their ads, and and I reckon what I just said there, they were having the same thing, right? Much earlier this year. And we looked at their ads and we just said that ultimately they just weren't spending enough. And so I said to him, look, you've got to increase the spend. Oh, but I'll increase the spend when we're making more. And I said, but it doesn't work like that, right? You've got to speculate to accumulate. And we run the numbers, we crunched the data, we focused, we went very, very focused. And what we did is we more than doubled his budget, right, on his ads. What happened within those next few weeks is he started to make more sales, and he didn't, because he was spending more. We started to get a little bit more profitable. But what happened? The big thing was he then got more consistent sales. That more consistent sales with the focus gave him more confidence to go and then build out his business and start to think a little bit bigger. And it also kickstarted his campaigns into just frankly working, because it gave Google enough budget that what happens when you don't have enough budget is you take your monthly budget, you look at it and you say, right, I've got £50 a day, £100 a day, £500 a day. And then you start to break that down. You go, well, what's my cost per click? And if you can then, and all of this data is in your Google Ads account. If you can look at all this and go, well, actually, we're only getting 20 clicks a day, 30 clicks a day. You can then look at your search term report and see, well, actually, of all those clicks, only 50, 60, 70% are even relevant, because you're always going to get some of the irrelevant stuff in there. And so actually you look at it and you go, well, I'm only getting 20 clicks a day. 20 clicks a day means you're getting, when you take out the crap, you're probably only getting 100 decent clicks a week that are relevant. And then if you think of your average, conversion value or conversion rate, when it comes to most e-commerce stores, if you're converting at, 2%, 3% at the very most, 1%, say on average it's a 2% conversion rate. If you're only getting 100 paid clicks, logic dictates you're only going to make a couple of sales. If your average order value is only a couple of sales, and your average order value is, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, £800, right? And on average, from those 100 clicks, you're only going to sell twice, because your website is not going to suddenly convert at 10%. No website does, yeah? Unless you are a super strong brand. No SME website converts at 10%. Then common sense, the rules of the game dictate you are only going to make a couple of sales, which means ultimately what happens is your average order value for you make a couple of sales at £600-800. You end up making sales of 1,200-1,500 quid. You do that every month. You end up getting back to the end of the month where you look at it and you go, well, I spent a couple of grand on ads and I made back 6, 7, 8, 9 grand. Right? Does this sound familiar? Because this is what happens. Yeah. But you see, you're laying your bed before you're making the bed before you've laid it.
Yes.
You're setting out what is going to happen. You're almost predicting the future because of what you're investing in. Because and this is an exercise you can go through. You can go look at your cost per click. You can go look at your cost per acquisition. And this is all I do on the pod. When I'm talking to prospective clients, when I'm guiding and coaching small businesses, this is what I say: go and run the numbers for yourself. Take this approach, these sort of principles. Look at the data. Understand that as an e-commerce business, you're never going to convert at more than 2 or 3%. There are the odd exception, but as a general rule of thumb, therefore, how much is it going to cost to get 100 sets of eyeballs on your brand when they're actively looking? Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, when you're then focusing across lots of product types, right, you're spreading it even thin, because you're not even getting 100 sets of eyeballs that are looking for tables. You're getting, 20, 30. So it then takes a month to get 100 people that are looking for tables. And that's why you only end up selling 1 or 2 tables a month that you can attribute to ads. That's why it doesn't work. You need to get some economies of scale.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah?
And you need to sort of build up your equity on Google as well, right? Behind the campaigns, or
absolutely.
is that
Account maturity? Absolutely, yeah, that is the thing. So the more these campaigns get into full flow when you are delivering dozens and dozens of conversions, whether it's sales or leads or whatever, a week, dozens a week, right? I've got campaigns that are spending six figures every month on Google Ads, right? Their
Right.
campaigns are just flying because the sheer volume of data and conversions that we are flooding into those accounts, Google is under no uncertain terms. Okay, this is what a conversion is. This is what a customer is. And it's like printing money, right? They can put £1 in and they can get a 6, 8, 10, 12 times return because the volumes are so high. Now, that takes time to get there, but for smaller businesses where we've got lots of clients where their investment into ads on a monthly basis will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 grand. We've got lots of clients that are in that. So these are small owner operator businesses that are in the home garden lifestyle space where a lot of them are localized, a lot are e-com. We've got about 50-50 split e-com to sort of more service-based physical stores, showrooms, stuff like that. They're often spending 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, thousands. The way we make it work is we are hyper focused and we make sure that we, in terms of the campaign structure, we don't try and spread ourselves too thin. It's why I said earlier, and I hope you've noted it down, about the way you should structure your campaign. You'll notice I've only gone for one Performance Max campaign and one shopping campaign, which is set to high and low priority. Because with your budget, if you take that budget and you split it across 3, 4, 5 different campaigns, right? Because we'll have a campaign for tables, we'll have a campaign for benches, we'll have a campaign for this. You are further diluting down your ability to get enough traction into a campaign to actually make it work.
Got it.
Yeah,
makes complete sense.
So that, for me, you've got the structure, and I think you've got that. Go and run those numbers. And again, I'm more than happy after the pod, if you want me to give you a look and just hold your hand through that exercise and just do it, because I think you will learn a lot from it. And then when you focus on tables, and then you look at where you want to be and you start thinking bigger, I think you will be surprised of where you could take this business and actually get it into 3, 350, 4 and beyond. There is absolutely no reason why you should be able to do that. Looking at the business, the website, the history of the website, the products, no reason. Absolutely no reason.
Amazing.
Yeah?
Amazing. Well, you make it sound so easy.
Well, look, it's not easy. It's not easy, but there are some. If you do the same thing, right, you're going to get the same result. If you invest the same amount, right, you're going to get the same sort of results. So what I'm saying is there's some things there that fundamentally just want you to focus. If you focus this business and think logically, just think what I'm saying. And for anyone listening on, what I'm saying is common sense. It's logical, right? I'm not saying anything that's like, oh, well, that sounds, hoity-toity. That sounds like just away with the fairies. What I'm saying is we all know most websites only convert at 1, 2, 3%. Therefore, 100 people means 1, 2, or 3 customers. When you're paying for your ads, how many people, sets of eyeballs, are you driving to your ads on a weekly basis? Anyone watching or listening to this can go and do it and look at your data for the last 3 months and go, blimey, on average, I'm only getting 50 people or I'm getting 200 people. Of those 200 people, you on average can expect you're going to make 4 or 5 sales. Fact of life for so many businesses. And yet no one thinks of it like that. They all just go, well, I've invested $1,000 into ads and I didn't get a return. Look at your numbers. Look at how competitive your market is. Now, I want to do, Archie, how are we doing for time? Are we good? We got some time?
We're doing okay.
Okay, amazing. Right, because I could keep Rachel on this call on this pod all day.
Well, not ages, Aaron. Not ages.
He's reining me in already. He's learned from Darren. He's like, rein him in. Right. I want to give you a few other little tidbits to sort of take and deploy. So. A great way to optimize this website is you need to think. That every page, I liken it to the Ronson approach, right? You need to say what it is on the tin. So you need to say what the product is and who it's for, or and stuff like that. So, and I think you could do a better job with optimizing some of the pages on the website in terms of being very clear. This is what it is, and I know, again, this is where I would use Google Search Console. So for example, I'm going to use the table ones again, right? So we've got teak dining tables, some beautiful stuff on here. So what I'd be doing is using Google Search Console. And again, if you want me to, I'll show you this after the pod. But Google Search Console, you go look for how people search for teak dining tables and look for how they search. What do they search for? Because what you've done is you've named all of your products. You've Jasmine, Foxglove, Iris, fine. People won't be searching for that. What they will be searching for is by size, by the number of seats, a 10-seater, a 12-seater, a 6-seater. They'll be searching by that. They'll be searching by shape. So round,
Yeah.
square, etc., which you do. But in terms of so there's going to be little nuances and quirks there'll be little golden nuggets in your Google Search Console that will enable you to better optimize those pages and make them hyper relevant for your target customer. Yeah.
How interesting. So do you what would one sort of put that in instead of the product name?
Not necessarily, no, because I think the product names are important. But what I would be doing is let's just look at one, right? Let's just have a look. So you've got the foxglove table and bench dining set, yeah. So let's just have a look. I'm gonna live optimize this. So let's have a look. Right, let's have a little look see on here. So we have got on this page. I'm just going to have a look that I know how people are going to search. So there's not a single reference on this page as a product page of the word seater. Yeah, you mentioned available in one size seating 6 to 8. People don't search. More people search for the word seater than they do seating.
Seater. Okay.
And you only have the word seating mentioned once on that page, and nowhere does it mention it in the page title or the heading tag, etc. So I like the page title, and stuff like that. But what you need to do is just it's rereading your product descriptions, but using the data to inform and looking at it with fresh eyes and going, does this product convey the touch points that people want? The size, the type, the this, it's. And that's why I want you to use your data, because it will give you little insights. That one little insight you can then rip and repeat across every product on the website.
Yeah.
Right. And it just means you better optimize the website. Yeah. And so you could do that. That's one little nugget. I've got 2 more to give you. The second one is, if we're going to focus on tables, Teak tables, personally, what I would do, and I need to tell you this to do with be careful with this, but this comes with caution, because I want you to be careful if you do this. But on your main navigation, all of your products are buried under the Teak garden furniture.
Yes.
I would strip out the products to have them in the top nav. Because what you've got all the products listed under a drop down, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got sale. Sale's good. I don't think you need Teak sale. I just have sale, right? Your about is good. You don't need delivery in your main nav. You don't need aftercare in your main nav, and you don't need visit us in your main nav. I would have all of those. I would have about us, or about delivery, aftercare, visit us, all under one thing on the nav. So you hover over about, and then it has about, delivery, aftercare, visit us, because they're all secondary. You are an e-commerce business, and yet you've given 2/3 of your main navigation for things that are non-e-commerce.
Yeah, totally good advice.
So you need to put. So I would be putting Teak tables as one of them, because that's going to be one of our key ones. Probably Teak chairs and Teak benches, or what choose the 3 or 4 that are like your big heavy hitters, and I would have them. It then means straight away I come on the website, bang, I'm in. I know exactly that. Oh yeah, Teak tables, bang. That's what I haven't got to hover and try and find it.
And then where do you put the others? Lounges, sofas.
The others I would have, let's have a look. So I would probably then have a shop all, I would have shop all, and then there is you hover over and you have either everything. It depends on how you could set up from a development perspective.
Yeah.
But you still need your everything else, but your hero categories, right? You want to make them, right now we're putting all of the best bits. We're sort of saying, well, you've got to hover over this to find it. Let's shout about it. Let's put it front and center. A couple of other things I would, on the main navigation, on the main hero banner, you've got the banner, which is all festive at the moment, but then the wording on the banner is not centralized. Bring that wording on the left higher up the page, as in get it in the middle of that banner, because on a laptop screen, which is what I'm on now, it's really low down.
Interesting. Well, actually, do you know what? I just moved it from the center down to the left, but I'll move it back.
No, move it back. No, put it in the middle. Definitely put it in the middle. And then the other thing, the last little point is and this is just a little call to action, which is very topical, because I was speaking to a client about something very similar earlier today, and that is at the very top banner, you've got free delivery until the 31st of March. Yeah, what's the point? There's no point.
Because
Because, and I'll tell you why, right? If that as a call to action, right? What that's telling me is free to do. Oh, I've got months to think about that. Well, there's absolutely no need for me to buy today. I'll come back in
Yeah.
February.
Right. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
so what you want to do. If you're planning to have free delivery till March, absolutely fine. What I'd be doing at the time of recording, we're a couple of weeks before Christmas. What I'd be doing right now is I'd be saying free delivery until Christmas. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you then go and say, oh, it's now free delivery, until the
Beyond.
end of January, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
increment
Yeah.
it. But also, and what I'd be using is looking at your customer profile, etc., to understand how do people, do they care about free delivery? Or what I'd be doing and this is what we've done for many clients, is when they have, like you now, you're in the middle of winter, it's not your primary season. Incentivize. Free delivery is not enough of an
No.
incentivization to buy. So if the business can afford it, allow it. A discount. Did you do anything for Black Friday?
We didn't, but just because we wanted to do something for Christmas just afterwards, and we
what
felt
are
we
you
couldn't
doing? Are
do
you going to do
both.
like a Boxing Day thing?
Well, no. So we've offered our subscribers the best discount, and then yes, I guess that's it. We've just offered a discount to our subscribers.
Fine. That's fine. I mean, that's
through a
good.
newsletter.
That's good. That's good. You want it to, you absolutely want to do that, but what you want to do is be attracting new people, right? Because your subscribers are important, but right now there is absolutely no. If I go on the website, there is no reason for me to buy now. And so what I'd be thinking is, if the business can allow it, if this was my business, I'd be thinking, right, I know that winter's quiet. You've almost kind of written it off and gone, well, we know the winter's quiet, where therefore we're not going to, we're going to turn our ads off. We've accepted that we're not going to make it sales. For me, if this was my business, I wouldn't accept that. I would be going, right, we know it's not peak, but what can we do? Can we offer a discount? Can we do if you buy X, you get Y free? Right? It's, what can you be doing? And then I would be putting that front and center on the website, in addition to what you're running for your subscribers and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'd be making data capture a lot more prominent as well. So you want to be capturing people's data, sign up for, we've got some clients that I love it. Some of our clients, what they do, they'll literally have pop-ups and banners on the website that will say, want 10% off? Like, they'll ask that question in their banner, fancy a discount, want a free, this, that, and the other. And they'll be quite punchy and brazen about asking it, because people will look at it and go, yeah, I'll have a freebie. Yeah, I want a discount. And I think you've got to incentivize. If people are not in buying mode, and not as many are, but there will be people that will be buying these products all the time. And a lot of people will do it because they think, I mean, my wife and I were talking about exactly this the other day. We were saying, should we buy some more garden furniture? It'll be cheaper now because it's out of season.
Yeah.
We were literally saying that the other day, right? And so it's, that you want to tap into that. I'd be tapping into that. I'd be going, we're doing a 10%, a 20% or whatever it is, or buy this and you get, buy a table and you get a free bench, that sort of thing, a free chair, a free seat.
Yeah.
If the margin allows for it, incentivize it and do it. Because again, what you're doing, in the same way as you're almost accepting the status quo of, well, it's this time of year, we're not going to make any sales. Don't tell yourself that. Change the narrative. Someone say, we know it's going to be harder, but we absolutely need to make 10 sales, 20 sales, 50 sales this month. Right. How are we going to do it? Let's get creative with our marketing. Let's incentivize. Let's put the product front and center. Let's start running some Google ads, because what you're going to want to do when you get into the new year, you are going to want to start to implement your campaigns, because Performance Max has an 8-week lead time for learning. So you're going to want to start to learn that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And use Q1 to get the things out, get them start going. And then that will mean in Q2 and Q3, as things ramp, you're going to have a stellar time.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. What a huge amount to think about.
Yeah. Is that useful? Is that giving you food for thought?
Amazing. Yeah, totally amazing. And I feel like I could stay on the phone all day scribbling.
Good. Well, we are going to have to wrap this one up. But look, I hope that's been useful. It's been a pleasure. I love talking to businesses like this, where there's so many things you can and you should be doing.
Yeah.
So just take that implement it, and then, you know, give me a shout in 6 months and tell me how well you've done and how much you've grown the business and you're doing. I would love to hear from you next summer when you phone me up and say, Aaron, my business is now bigger than it was in COVID. That for me would, that is why I do the pod. I would love to hear that. So make sure you do that. And as I said, the offer stands. If you want me to look into this and just take a peek and give you a few pointers by actually looking at your data, I'm very happy to do that. Just let me know after the pod. All right?
Amazing. Thanks, Aaron. And actually,
Pleasure.
lovely to meet you both.
Yeah,
speak to you again.
to meet you too. Thanks so much for for joining us on the pod. It's been a pleasure. Well, there you go. That was Rachel. That was quite a full-on conversation. That felt like I did a lot of talking, and hopefully there's some bits there she can do. But I mean, you've been in now on the pod, you know, and you've heard us do quite a few of these. You've heard us say the same thing quite consistently.
Yes.
There's a
Google
lot of
Search Console.
Google Search Console. You've actually put in all of these
the graphics,
haven't you, for some of the things we repeat? Is that one of them currently?
No,
we've
got Brucey bonus.
We've got Brucey bonus
and get creative.
Okay, I think Google Search
now
Console.
That last sentence is going to be all three at once.
Yeah, it is. But I think we might have to put a Google Search Console because I do mention it. And for anyone listening, watching, if you don't know what it is, if you haven't got it set up, just Google it. Go and get it set up. Put your domain in there, verify it, and then it will just give you a treasure trove of insights, of data, and it will tell you how people are finding your website, how they're what they're searching for, and you can use that data to better optimize your website, to run better campaigns, and to just, you know, do a better job at attracting more customers to your website to buy your products or services. Well, there you go. So that was Rachel. She was lovely, wasn't she? She was really nice.
Go check out their website.
She's going to be
gorgeous products. Honestly, gorgeous products.
It really is. teakunique.co.uk. She's doing some great stuff, and hopefully she'll take that and she'll be bigger and better for it. And hopefully I'd love that if she reaches out next year and says, you know, we've kicked this business on. We've already had that, haven't we? Actually, we've just had that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have actually.
This week, we just had someone message and they were just like, "I've implemented stuff. It's amazing." And do you know what we also had, actually, just for those that because some people on my LinkedIn would have seen it. But a couple of things, actually, just to mention before we wrap this up. It's going to be a long one, this. A couple of things. So one is we had a couple of people reply back because we're now been doing the pod for a few months. People have implemented, some of those early guests have implemented, done it, and then they've gone, my God, this has really worked. Amazing. So we've had a few people report back some really lovely sort of comment stuff, which I regularly sort of cut and paste with their permission and put it out on my LinkedIn. If we're not connected on LinkedIn and you watch this, do connect with me. Can we add we'll add the link to
after they've subscribed, liked, turned all notifications on everything. Then connect with Aaron on LinkedIn.
There you go. He's well briefed, isn't he? So it's do all of that stuff, then connect with me on LinkedIn. But we had that. We also actually I've just sent out this. As we record at the time of recording, the most recent tea break's gone out, and in that it's the first time I've ever done. Tea break is my weekly newsletter. I send it out on a Thursday at 11 a.m. every Thursday. It goes out to all of our subscribers, and it's personal insights and paid media ideas. So it's a recap of all of that week's content, the latest tea talk, the latest podcast, the latest Evergreen Uncut episode. It's also going to feature some new stuff that we're bringing in 2025. But the other thing it does is I write down my sort of musings from the past week. As I call it, my personal insights. And it's always sort of businessy focused, and it's very reflective of what we're working on, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about. And this one that we've just done, I just want to mention it because if anyone is curious, sign up. If you haven't signed up, sign up. But also you can now find the tea breaks on the website,
yes,
albeit
it can.
a couple of months behind when
backdated.
It goes
a couple
out.
Of months behind.
Yeah, they run a couple of months behind when they're published. So if you want to get the, now sign up. If you want to see the old ones, then you can see past editions of it. But in there, I included a case study of someone that came on the pod. They came on the pod in July. They were having a torrid time, taking some shocking advice and really been messed around. They came on the pod. We did similar to what we've done today. We gave them tons of advice and helped them. And they made loads of notes. I followed up afterwards after the pod and just said, if you want any help, genuinely, I'll happily just give you a hand because I knew they were having a torrid time. Long and short of it, they ended up becoming a client, and we've now been working with them. And in 4 months, we have 10x'd their turnover,
which is staggering.
It is unbelievable. And all we've done a lot, but what we've done, the main thing we've done is just sorted out their stuff. We've sorted out their website. We've sorted out their organic visibility. We've sorted out their Google ads, we've sorted out everything. And we've just put solid foundations in place, because this was a business that was just, frankly, through no fault of their own, wasting their budget, their time, their resources on just really bad advice, really bad implementation. And by just putting the basics in place and then obviously optimizing it, the growth on that business has just gone up massive. And I shared the full story. It's amazing. So make sure you check that out. It's unbelievable.
It's a business that was also on Dragon's Den. Makes it.
So Dragon's Den?
Was it not?
Oh, it was actually. It was. Yeah. There you go.
Very interesting episode.
We only mix with, they're the circles we mix in, Archie. I mean, we were on there. Maybe we should. Exactly. Should we go on there? I
think we should with the podcast. Yeah.
Should we go on there with the pod? What would they make of that if we went on? They'd just be like, I'm out. No chance. I can't imagine. No. I don't mind pitching, but not in that scenario.
No.
The pressure of this is enough. The pressure of this. Anyway, right, we need to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this one. Archie and I, or maybe Darren, will see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.